We used to play this game called the Lotto Game, where we would say, what would you do if you had $200 million?
How difficult is it to build the sort of empire that you've built? Because I think you talk in the book about it a couple of times, about how you guys make it look easy, but actually it's a lot of hard graft. How difficult is it to actually build the level of empire that you guys have now built?
It's not so difficult. It's just that it requires sacrifices. And a lot of people don't want to go through the sacrifice phase. They just want it all now. So they either have the problem of spending before they actually should be spending, when they actually should be storing the money and then reinvesting in an actual asset that pays you. And then there's, we went through the sacrifice phase where pre-social media, where we did not go out, we had a night, we were poor rich people.
Okay.
But we were barely hanging on. Like when 2008 happened, I had a really beautiful house. I lived in Lionel Richie's old house. It overlooked all of Los Angeles, gorgeous house. We had one nice car. But when 2008 hit and like everything got wrecked, and we came under a $60 million lawsuit, first time ever being sued, why not make it big?
I love that.
And then the real estate, blah, blah, blah. We just went through a lot of hard times. So that was difficult where we just, everything stopped. There was no spending, no going out, no date night, nothing.
Can I tell you one thing? I work with a lot of females, okay, in your space, entrepreneur space. They don't really understand what true sacrifice is. So when I'm coaching sacrifice and the importance of it, they drive to their sessions in a beautiful, nice car. Every other picture is a wine picture, a nice meal picture. Can you really elaborate how you double down on sacrifice and how it made you feel mentally? Because a lot of people here in the UK, and I'll call all these fuckers out on social media, okay, is they get on the pity potty and they feel really sad and sorry for themselves, Elena. And then they hate life.
Yeah.
Did you ever go there, or did you swerve it and stay strong?
Well, we did go there, but we did swerve it and stay strong. We used to play this game called the Lotto Game, where we would say, what would you do if you had $200 million? And that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. At the time, it seemed like so much money, like we would never really get there. And now, it's just, it's all made up. That's what I learned anyway. It's all made up. Money and dollar figures, it's all made up. So now that number doesn't seem like a lot of money to me anymore, but it's just all relative and what's in your head. But we played this Lotto game to say, what would you do with $200 million? And so we'd say we would do this, we'd invest, we'd do it. Then we increased it to $1 billion. And what would happen is with the $1 billion, all of a sudden you're like, I'm a billionaire. I could go anywhere. I could call anyone on the phone. Like you wouldn't really, without being arrogant and disrespectful to people, you all of a sudden had this sense of pride of, wow, you could just be who you were.
Yeah.
But it gave us the freedom to be who we were, even when we didn't have the financial thing. It didn't mean we went out and pretended and spent money on Chanel purses or shoes, or I didn't do any of that. And that's just one of the sacrifices. Another sacrifice is, you know what, when Grant was working and hustling in 24 hours, there was no lovey-dovey time. There was no come spend time with me. It was no, we need to survive. We need to do everything we can to pull ourselves out of this situation. So it's also for the woman in that situation of going, you know what, I have to sacrifice my time with him because I'm trying to create a better future where ultimately we can have the life we want. And now we are living that life that we had dreamed of 10 years ago when we played that Lotto game.
You played the Lotto game and so far the long game. You weren't living for what you're going to feel like in the next 7 to 14 days. You were trying to create a future for your family.
Absolutely. It took longer than I thought. And a lot of
you
people
underestimate how long it takes,
It took us, when we played the Lotto game in 2008, the first thing I would say, every single time we played the game, and we played almost every night, just to get that sensation, because we were under the lawsuit.
I love this.
The real estate, we had real estate portfolio at the time. The banks were all going under. 462 banks went under in 2008. So the banks were desperate to get their money back. We had never missed a payment on any of our real estate. However, they said we were in technical default because our net worth had dropped, just like everybody in the entire country. So the banks were saying, we need $30 million from you today.
They called it in, didn't they? They called in the debt. They called in the debt.
They called
didn't
it.
Yeah.
They wanted to call it in, and so of course we fought it, and we paid the escrow account instead of them, and of course we won the deal. But I mean, it's terrifying, you know. And then the $60 million lawsuit, that was from friends.
Yeah, I remember the book you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
were from friends who were actually conning us. And
So for everyone that's listening to the podcast now, I really need you to listen to what Elaine is saying. So many people are going to wait until they experience this amount of pain in order to win. When ladies like this come through and tell their story, please don't wait until you've got a $60 million bloody lawsuit or until you feel that internal pain or conflict to understand that you've got to play big for the future, because you've got to purchase the book, you've got to read the book, but more importantly, you need to understand the kind of emotion and feeling that Elena and Grant went through in order to create their forever growing empire.
Yeah, we call it mindset resilience, and I think a lot of people are emotionally bought into mindset resilience when following someone like Elena or someone's adversity or hardship. But mindset resilience truly comes in when you're in the middle of it. So to practice it on the job is a lot harder than reading it. Does that make sense?
yeah, it is. It's like a real life practical, because a lot of people measure success based on what you've done and your accomplishments.
Yes.
However, from being with the con people, I had to wake up and say, wow, you know, and how brutal and vicious the bank people are.
Yes.
And I come from the streets of New Orleans, and Grant comes from Lake Charles, and neither one of us are used to having. We were rich at that time. We were not wealthy. We were not financially free. We were rich in other people's minds. We were barely hanging on in our minds.
I get it, yeah.
But it was more money than I had ever seen, you know. And my, you know, being with Grant, when I even got with him, he was a multi-millionaire already. So that was way more than I was used to. But going through that situation made me realize that you have to learn people, and you have to learn how to read people, and you have to be very sharp. It's one of the
Brilliant.
reasons.
Listen,
It's one of the reasons I don't drink, because I have to keep my
Wits
mental
about you.
alertness all the time, 24/7. I very rarely let that guard down. But that is one of the things that people don't measure. They measure success on what you've done, but rarely do people say, wow. They can't measure how many times you steered away from that person and that situation and that bad opportunity that could have literally bankrupted you mentally or physically.
And emotionally, massively,
Yes. Grant and I have always been humanitarians and charitable, and but during that period, and when we were in the sacrifice phase, pre that sacrifice phase, we had given maybe $1 million or $2 million to charity. Once 2008 happened, all charitable donations stopped.
Had to stop,
It
110%.
stopped. They kept coming to us, and we were like, no, you know, like, we don't know where this is going. It was, you know, and now that that's ended,
Give back.
It's time to give back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we've given almost 20 million now, and we've raised almost 200 million for charity.
Oh, wow.
But I think it shows up in your results because you've got a genuinely bigger purpose. Because most people, like you said, you define your purpose in the first chapter. Most people's purpose is, I'd kind of like to have the car you've got. Your house in Miami is kind of nice, but actually you guys are playing such a
those are
big
things.
game.
That's not purpose. Those are rewards. That's what I said when we first got on our plane. We took the 550 for a little spin or whatever before and then we bought it. And Sherry, our COO, said, "How does it feel?" And I said, "You know, it feels amazing." I said, "But these are just rewards. These are trophies that show up in the physical universe." But they're a symbol. It's a symbol of all the right decisions that Grant and I have made together. It's all the sacrifice we have made. It's everything that you don't see. This is the reward. Those are the get to haves.
Yeah. Do you think it's also a symbol of all the wrong decisions you've made because they've propelled you forward?
Accumulatively, you've got such a good understanding now based on all the decisions that you should have made, didn't make.
No, we made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. We should be multi-billionaires already. Yeah. If I had the first 5 years of our marriage, I was not wanting to make him a meal because I was, you know, I was woman hear me roar, and women don't make meals for men, and and don't ask me to do so.
Really?
So, so that held us back.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and
a
not
big-
marketing, not putting up, not
Yeah.
getting known, not going horizontal, staying in one vertical, like only addressing this industry and not going this way. We made so many mistakes. If I had had that 5 to 7 year head start, for sure we'd be multi-billionaires. And in 5 to 7 years we will be. But I could have done it faster had I known now if I knew it then.
I'm going to put it out there, categorically the most congruent person that we have ever met. Reese, would you say that?
Yeah, I would. Because, guys, I want you all to understand. Listen, I want you all to understand the importance of making mistakes. You know, when you can take ownership that you've made the wrong decisions and stop trying to fight your own corner, that's when you can actually move forward.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, what they do is rationalise why they've made the decision and they actually stay still.
Yeah.
But as Elena just said, you know, well, I've made a million mistakes, and if I never made them, I would be a billionaire 5 to 7 years earlier. But that's okay.
It's
That's
like
okay. Yeah,
it's like
that's okay. I
a
don't
mistake.
like it, but, you know.
A mistake, address it and press forward.
Yeah.
A mistake, address it and press forward.